Hey there, good Tuesday morning. Almost said Monday. Tuesday morning. It is January the 7th, and I'm Chris Allen here on the Sam channel, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X, all sponsored by Ace Hardware Marketplace. So we still have clouds, and it's still cold, and it's going to get colder before we begin to see a warm up, but a little bit of just a little bit of a warm up. And that's only because we're going to have moisture come back. This time it's going to be southern tracking moisture, and it's going to give us an actual snow, a real snow. It's coming. But first, let's get to the here and now, and let's check the current conditions from Plano, right here in Plano. Here we go with the way it looks outside from the Plano cam here at my home studio just outside of Bowling Green. And you can see it's a cloudy day, just a tiny little bit of a breeze, not much. At least it's not as breezy as it was yesterday. So it may not feel quite as cold, but it's still a little brisk at times. And these clouds, I think, are going to have a hard time clearing out. I know some of the forecasts are saying becoming partly sunny. It might happen. It might happen, but I'm going to go with mostly cloudy because these clouds are hanging tough. It's going to be hard to scrub them out. High pressure is in control of our weather now, but drier air is having a hard time working in after our winter storm this weekend, and it's going to be tough to kind of clear out a lot of these clouds. So I'm going to keep it mainly cloudy today. There is the possibility that we could have maybe some limited sunshine peeping through a little bit later on. But in the meantime, let's check some of the Kentucky mesonet temperatures. And as you can see, the coldest part of the state is out east of us, where it's upper teens and low 20s. Here in southern Kentucky, it's more mid 20s. As you can see, we go from 28 in Morgantown to 27s here in Bowling Green at 7:35 a.m. Central Time. Some colder 20s up here toward Beaver Dam and Hartford. And then over in Muhlenberg County, it's 24. And you got 24 over in Edmonton, Metcalfe County. Let's check the wind. If there's very little, calm to 5 miles per hour, but notice the arrows indicating the wind is coming almost due north, out of the north. And that's going to be the case throughout the day. No gust, really. I mean, there may be some occasionally, as you can see here, 10 to 15, but otherwise, not much of an issue as far as wind chill. But yes, it's cold, and it's going to stay cold. I don't see that changing. In fact, some of the coldest days yet are still to come as we go through this week. So brace yourself. It's coming. All right, let's go to the radar and the satellite, and you can see the satellite view showing how socked in the clouds really are. And I think they're going to pretty much stay this way. You see right here back west of us, there's a little bit of a hole that's opened up, maybe some limited sunshine to come through, but these clouds are very thick and go all the way back into Missouri. So from time to time, we may see some holes opening up like this. I'm going to keep it cloudy today because the moisture that's trapped here is in wake of the winter storm is pretty typical. There's just not enough dry air working its way in to scour out these clouds, so they're going to stay pretty stubborn today. Here's a look at radar, and there's not much going on. If anything, there's nothing. Nothing happening. Any of the leftover snowflakes, flurries last evening, they're all gone. Nothing else coming in for the next several days, as you will shortly see. Let's go to the forecast maps and let's begin to take a look at what is going to become our next system. And this is of interest because some locations will still have snow on the ground, like north of us: Cincinnati, Frankfort, Louisville, Evansville, E-Town. Those of you that live north of Bowling Green, most of what you have on the ground is not going anywhere, and it's waiting on the next system. Now, for some reason this morning, Nashville put in their zone forecast. You can see it ends at the Tennessee border. The possibility of a few flurries. But, and it's possible that you might see something this morning if you live closer to the Tennessee border. I guess it is possible, but it's not really part of anything except this trough that's out east of us. This little wave, little weak wave left over after the winter storm. But for the most part, nothing's going to happen today, just a lot of cloud cover. That's not to say you won't see a snow flurry, but anyway. So here we go into midday this evening, another little weak impulse up here around Cincinnati with a few flurries. Not a big deal. We stay cloudy into this evening. Here we go. Now, again, here comes another one of those little short waves that tries to squeeze out the possibility of a snowflake or two. This is midnight tonight. So I'm going to keep it cloudy tonight. The mention, maybe, of a few passing flurries, but mainly up toward Louisville, Frankfort, Lexington, Cincinnati, Ashland, Huntington, Charleston, maybe as far south as, out the Cumberland Parkway. It's a possibility. But again, it's less than 10%, so it's really not officially in the forecast, but you can see it's on the map. So from that standpoint, we can say, okay, it might. Then here we go into 6 a.m. Wednesday, 6 p.m. Wednesday. There's still a little, enough to squeeze out a little flurry or two in eastern Kentucky. And Wednesday is going to be the day that high pressure builds in, and we may then get enough dry air to scrub out the cloud cover. But that's not even a guarantee. But I am thinking that we will see a little bit more in the way of sunshine on Wednesday than we're expecting today. Here we go into Thursday morning. High pressure sits right on top of us. Plenty of dry air. And so the clouds will be scrubbed out and we'll see sunshine. But look at what's coming. This is Thursday morning. And look at this system. This is a southern tracking system. It's in the Gulf of Mexico. Look at that. Part of it is in Old Mexico and the other part is in the Gulf of Mexico. And it's going to extend a disturbance, a trough, northward. It's like taking a low pressure system and expanding it like you would, like when you stretch a rubber band. Same thing is happening here. But where cold air has already been established, like over much of Texas, it's crazy. Midland, Odessa, Abilene, Lubbock, Amarillo, Wichita Falls, even Dallas, Fort Worth is going to see the same wintry weather that we had this past weekend. And then this whole thing is going to stretch north and east and start to affect the southeast. So here we are. This is 6 a.m. Thursday. Here is 6 a.m. Friday. And look what happens. Oh boy, that moisture runs right into the already established foundation of cold air that is sitting right over us. And we're not only talking about snow, but we're talking about the possibility of some heavier snow. Now, it is a little too soon to start talking about how many inches, but the model guidance on this is, and it just reset on me. Apologize for that. There we go. So the model guidance is so good on this right now. Let me bring myself back in here because I want you to see me. The model guidance is so well-rounded with this system. And because it's a southern tracking system, and this is overrunning moisture. In other words, we've got cold air in place at the surface, and we've got moisture riding up and over that cold air, kind of a dam that's been built here. I am 99.9% sure this is going to be a snow. And on top of that, 99.9% assured that this is going to be a measurable snow and possibly even several inches. If this thing goes like we think it's going to go, we're in for a snow on Friday. And not just a dusting and not just an inch, but it could be 2, 3, maybe more. Maybe. This has the potential to do that. So that's why, with interest, we're already honing in on this as a fairly, for us, Southern Kentucky, a significant snowfall. Here we go into 6 a.m. Saturday, still leftover snow, occasional snow showers and flurries as we get into Saturday midday and afternoon. By Sunday morning, high pressure builds back in and we're done with that. Here's another system out in the plains that we're watching for next week that could have some upper level energy with it that could squeeze out. This is Monday, could squeeze out some flurries nearby. And then another shot of cold air comes in on Tuesday of next week. So we have several opportunities because the cold air has, that foundation has been laid. We've got that. That's what you need. And so whether the moisture comes from the north or comes up from the south, we have enough cold air here to, anytime moisture comes by now, and these reinforcing shots of cold air, each one is going to make it so that the moisture that we get is more likely to be snow than rain. The exception being what we just had this past weekend, and that's because we were borderline warm air and cold air. But I can tell you that on Friday, it's going to snow. How much remains to be seen. But everything is pointing now, even here it is Tuesday, everything is pointing to several inches of snow out of this system. All right, let's take a look at the model blend, the blender, I like to call it. And you can see, excuse me, you can see that we're not getting out of the deep freeze anytime soon. Somebody laughed at me yesterday because I used the word dangerous as describing the deep freeze. It is if you're outside and you're overexposed to it. It can be dangerous. It's dangerous to pets. It's dangerous to those that don't have heat. And there's still a lot of people without power. Some, let's see, I think it was 1,500 to 2,000 back in Western Kentucky and a little bit north of us still without power. So, yeah, it's dangerous. It can be. I mean, this is not the coldest stuff we've seen, but it's the longest cold stretch below freezing that we've seen in years. And you can see that stretch of, 31, 28, barely above freezing, little bit above freezing. Then we start to moderate some as we get into Saturday and Sunday after the snow comes on Friday. So we could have a little bit of melting that takes place, but notice it would melt and then refreeze, because at night we go to 18, then we go to 25, then we go 36 to 18, 33 to 18. Look at all those teens. And in some cases, I still think Thursday morning, Wednesday, tomorrow night into Thursday morning, that 13 could be more like 9 or single digits. So you look at those lows and then you look at the highs, and these are way off where we should be. We should be at 46 for a normal high temperature this time of the year. And we're going to be 10 to 15 degrees, in some cases colder than that. Through the rest of this week, into this weekend, and as you can see, much of next week, no change. So because of that, I'm looking at this pattern does not change. We may get incoming disturbances, like I said, from the north and then some from the south. In either case, it's going to be cold enough to where we're going to have more opportunity to get frozen precipitation or snow. It can't miss. It can't miss us. It's that much of a forecast that's the pattern that we're in. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. Okay. Today I can tell you that it is going to stay cloudy and the possibility of maybe a flyby flurry, and near 30. Some of you may hit 30 closer to the Tennessee border, but otherwise it'll be upper 20s down to about 14 with cloud cover. Now, let me tell you, if we didn't have that cloud cover tonight, it would be colder than 14. But 14 is what I'm looking at for tonight. And that also means somebody's pipes may freeze. Somebody's. And it's been happening the last couple of days. Then Wednesday, we go 26 to 9. And that's because we finally get rid of these clouds. That opens the sky and allows that cold air to really settle in. So the coldest night is going to be Wednesday night into Thursday morning. All right. Thank you guys for watching. As always, have a great Tuesday, and I'll see you tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on News 40 WNKY, because local matters. And at any time, follow us on the News 40 weather app. God bless.